How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi, and welcome, fellow haters of the blue, to my P2 Hunter Biz Gear Guide. You know how we do this. We go slot by slot. I'll cover the best items first, then work our way down to the best alternatives. If there's an enchant for that slot, I'll also mention it when we cover that slot. There will be some variations for specs, mainly melee, and we'll make note of those. So, tip to butt. And you can play World of Warships right here. A big thank you to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. During registration, use the code BRAVO to get 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, 7 days of premium account time, and a free ship after you complete only 15 battles, all for free for new users only. World of Warships is a free-to-play naval warfare game available on PC. World of Warships drops new content every single month. New ships, cosmetics, ship classes, and my favorite, absolutely insane collaborations. Godzilla vs. Kong. Oh, I love Godzilla so much. And Megadeth. Yes, Megadeth. Rust in Peace, top 5 all-time album. But even better, World of Warships is available on console. I've been playing it on PS5 and it looks good. It's a massive game with stunning graphics. The ships are extremely detailed and super accurate to the real thing. The dev team even references historical documents and sometimes the actual ship blueprints in order to make them so accurate. It's a sight to behold. Check my link in the description to get World of Warships on PC, or check the store on your console of choice. And don't forget, use the promo code BRAVO to get that huge starter pack, 500 doubloons, 1.5 million credits, 7 days premium game time, and a ship after only 15 battles. Wow. Big thanks to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. Helm. Our best helm is going to be the leatherworking crafted gnomer item. It's a very good helm with hit and an on-use attack speed. You just can't beat it. Second is going to be Marksman's scope visor from gnomer. Drops from the second to last boss. Beyond that, there's a lot of options that are pretty similar. Either of the helms from BFD are still fine, they're pretty good. Greens of agility are also fine if you're melee, greens with the tiger, or if those are very expensive, barbaric iron helm is generally cheap and it's not bad for melee. Shoulders, undoubtedly the best is Trog Slayer pauldrons. These are from Grubbus in Gnomer. Don't let a ret or a warrior take this is dope hunter shit. After that, Failed Flying Experiment are quite good if you're melee. These are from the Chicken Escort quest. I'm pretty sure it's the Feralus one. Although you can also get a green of the Tiger with same stats. And for ranged, you can get a green of agility with up to 14 agility. Other two I would recommend are Revelosh's Shoulders from Ultiman or Flintrock Shoulders. These are a BOE drop from SM. They were fairly cheap on my server at the time of writing, so they're a decent option. Chest. This is a bit of a tricky one. In general, Blazewind Breastplate is the best for all specs. And it's not terribly hard to get, it's a little difficult. It's from a high level quest in Badlands. You can kite the mobs, or I just did it with 2 groups and we split the mobs up. Now the tier chest is also good. It's not quite as good, but the set bonuses are pretty nice. Especially the 3-piece is good for ranged or longer fight. And there's also the leather tier chest, which hunters can purchase. It's also pretty good. However, I would avoid the leather set. It's only good if you're going to play melee, and even then, it's not always better than the male set. My recommendation is get Blazewind, and you're mostly going to use that. But take the male set chest if it's available. 3-piece male set is quite good for longer fights, especially if you're playing ranged. Pre-raid options would be mainly a green of agility, as those can roll up to 19 agility. The Gelkis chain from Desolus quests is easy to get and not bad for melee hunters. If you just can't get any decent greens, there is Tough Scorpid Breastplate. It's not the best, but it's crafted and it shouldn't be too expensive. And your chest enchant is +2 all stats. Bracers. Alright, probably the most annoying slot because everyone is going to say get Forest Stalker Bracers, which are really good, but they're from Warsong Gulch Exalted. I ain't got time for that shit. So what's our next best option? Experimental Aim Stabilizers from Crowd Pummeler in Gnomer. These are good and extremely close to Forest Stalker, so I would just get these. After that, a green of agility can roll 10 agility, or Revelash's arm guards. These are good, they're 9 agility, and they're really easy to get. Bracer enchant is 5 strength. If you're never meleeing, well, you can get 5 int or 1 agility. Not really any great choices. Gloves. The best gloves are machinist's gloves. Hit, agility, and an interesting AP versus mechanicals. But it's a bit unfortunate because there's also a set of male gloves that are agility and hit, but they don't have the AP versus mechanicals. The leather ones are always going to win out against mechanicals, so that's most things in Gnomer. The male ones win everywhere else. Go for machinist, but if arcane accuracy drop, they're worth picking up. Or if you just have a raid where it's going to be really hard for you to get the machinists. The machinist drop from electrocutioner and arcane accuracy drop from the second to last boss. Outside of that, gauntlets of divinity from Mograine and SM Cath are still good for pre-bis. But even your void touched leather from last phase are still extremely relevant because of the hit and the on use. Gloves also finally have a good enchant with 5 agility. Belt. Belt is a bit of a contentious slot. Hyperconductive gold wrap is the NG crafted epic. It's good, but it's actually not that impressive. The biggest issue is the cooldown is 15 minutes. You're only going to get to use that twice, maybe 3 times in Gnomer if you're going slow. But also, we already have a really good male belt that can drop in Gnomer, Dark Vision Girdle, dropping from the penultimate boss. If you're NG, I'd go ahead and make hyperconductive, but I would not drop another profession for NG just to get this belt. Previous options would be Ogrons if you're going melee. This is a BOE, so it's quite expensive. There's Scorpashi Sash, this is the poor man's Ogron. The AB belt is good, and there's a lot of other good greens out there like Blackforge Girdle. Legs. There's actually a lot of good options for legs. It's kind of crazy. I can't mention all of them. So the tier male pants are good, as I mentioned before, but we really want them for the set bonus. If we're going to run 2-piece, skip the chest and use Blazewind. You use the pants and the boots that are the set pieces. For 3-piece, well, then you just have to use all 3 of them. Other than that, you have Nimble, Trip Runner, Dungarees. Fantastic pants, and they are from the quest to clear Gnomer, so they are guaranteed. Pre-bis options, I'd say Basilisk Hide pants are a world BOE. They're quite solid, and because it's so easy to get the Gnomer pants, they might not be that expensive in the future. Greens of Agility can roll up to 19 Agility. That's obviously going to work just fine for pre-bis. There's also Hawk Eyes Breeches, 14 Agility green. They were pretty cheap on my server, and they're fine for pre-raid. Boots. Tier boots. We've already talked a lot about tier, so you know how these work. It's for the set bonuses. After that, if melee, Blackforge Greaves are extremely good. Unfortunately, every other melee that can wear mail also wants these, so for a green, they are very expensive. Ranged pre-bis options include Greens of Agility. I say that a lot. But that's generally your best bet. They can roll up to 14 Agility, and they were fairly cheap on my server. I got 13 Agility boots for like 2 gold. If you've got a ton of AB rep for some reason, the AB Revered boots are also quite good. And if melee, Excelsior boots are close to Blackforge, but a little bit worse. They're from that Crocolis questline in STV. Our boot enchant is minor speed or 3 agility. Cape. Our best cape is Prototype Parachute Cloak. This is from the second to last boss in Gnomer, and it is bis for all specs. Slightly behind it is Blood Drenched Drape. This is from the STV event. It costs 2 silver. 2 silver of the event currency, not 2 normal silver. For bis, well, if you're playing melee, there is Dark Hooded. This is almost tied for phase bis if melee. It's extremely close to Prototype Parachute Cloak. If ranged, it's kind of your best option for pre-raid. However, if you didn't get Dark Hooded last phase, it's going to be rough getting it now. The prices on it are really high. It's from a rare spawn in Arathi called Nimar. After that, greens can also roll up to 10 agility, and if you're engineering, the regular parachute cloak is 8 agility. Our cape enchant is going to be 3 agility. Neck. Finally, a really easy slot. Bis neck is Gnomeragon Peace Officer's Torque. This is from the NG notes on the last boss, basically the Ani head, mag head, heart of a car item, so it drops every time. Pre-bis is going to be the Warsong Gulch rep necklace, which you probably already have from P1. If not, well, the Ashenvale event is easier than ever to farm rep. Rings. Well, if you just want to flex on people, the Rock is obviously the best. But for stats, well, we kind of get boned a little bit here. Mason's Fraternity Ring would be the best. Divinomatic Rod is a level 40 quest, but for some reason ZF is closed. I really hope it's not the raid for next phase. That leaves us with shit options, unfortunately. Hypercharged Gear of Devastation from the last boss of Gnomer is BIS if you're doing melee, and the level 38 Warsong Gulch Rep Ring would be our second. If you're not doing any melee, those are still good and honestly generally worth it because you also get the stam. So those are just fine to take. But there are a few points of agility you can squeeze if you're going ranged only. High level green rings of agility can roll 10. There's also Falcon's Hook. It's a BOE green with 9 agility, 3 strength. There's also Iron Spine's Eye from a rare in SM Graveyard. It's also 9 agility but 4 strength. Or slightly better Ring of the Underwood. This is 10 agility, 2 strength, 4 stam. It's a world drop BOE blue, but it's not as expensive as I expected. And just remember, you can also use the level 28 version of the Warsong Gulch Rep Ring until you find something better. Trinket. Argrieller's Whimsical World Warper is the best trinket. It sends you to some weird ass places like Old Ironforge. Because, sure, why not? And I love that the spell's name is Argrieller's Wild Ride. For real though, BIS Trinket is actually still the one from BFD. Second place is the new Gnomer Trinket with AP, Gyromatic Experiment 420B. Wow, 420, you are hilarious, Blizzard. But the on-use sucks. It just turns you into a chicken most of the time, so it's basically the same as the BFD one. There's also Domesticated Attack Chicken. It does a little bit of damage, but unfortunately, it seems like it doesn't squawk. I don't have this, so I can't say for 100%, but everyone I've seen use this has said it doesn't squawk. Weapon. Oh yes, the big stick. So if you're not meleeing, our options aren't that great. Gyromatic Macro Adjuster is 15 agility, 15 int. Okay. Greens can roll up to 19 agility. Yeah, so that's going to be your best two-handed option if you can find one. A green of agility. If you want to dual wield, Vanquisher's Sword from BFD Quest is great, giving 28 AP. For the other slot, Blue Glittering Axe are crafted and not too expensive. They give 8 agility. If you're a Horde though, you can get Nordic Longshank from Alderman. Greens can roll up to 8 agility, so that can work as well, but you're more likely to just use Blue Glittering Axe. So what if we're actually doing melee damage? BIS for melee is obviously the claws from Gnomer. They are fantastic, they are unbeatable. Arcano Shredder drops from the last boss, and not only is it just a ton of damage, it has an amazing on-hit effect. And the offhand Cogmaster drops from Crowd Pummeler. There is one exception with these though. I think you can run 2 ultrasonic vibro blades if you're an orc. I did a lot of simming, and the 2 axes were virtually identical in DPS to the fists if you're an orc. I would still probably take the fists over the axes even as an orc, because I'd rather have them for PvP, but they are a viable option for orc if it's going to be very difficult for you to get the fist weapons for some reason. Thankfully though, the pre-BIS weapons are very easy. We have the Warsong Gulch Rep Sword and Vanquisher's Sword. Both are fantastic weapons and easy to get. If it's going to take you a while to get the Warsong Gulch Rep, like a new character or something, I would just use the SM Quest Sword, Sword of Omen, or Sword of Serenity until you can get it, because it really shouldn't take you that long. However, there is one big downside this phase compared to last though. We don't get new mana oils or stones. The BFD oil was 12 MP5. The only oil we have now is 4 MP5. Damn, that is some bullshit. Probably just do a solid sharpening stone on the offhand. Our one-handed weapon enchant is going to be 3 damage. For 2-hand, it doesn't really matter, they are all pretty terrible. 3 int is about it. However, it could be this mantle. I haven't gotten to try this yet, but I've heard it's just terrible, not even worth using. And also that it's busted and is going to need to be nerfed. So yeah, this is probably BIS, but I can't guarantee it, as I haven't been able to test it yet. Ranged. Clearly, it's Thermoplug's Custom Blaster. Great stats on this, and just a tiny bit slower than the Expo last phase. I wish it was even slower, but still, it's good, and it's cool to have a gun for a while. The dwarfs will be very happy. This drops from the last boss in Gnomer, which, obviously, I already have this. I petitioned Hunter Jesus, and he delivered, as he always does. Second place is probably Bow of Searing Arrows, but as I've mentioned before, I'm not sure of the proc on this. There's conflicting info. Personally, I wouldn't bother with this unless it was really cheap. Go for the Silencer or Shadowforge Bushmaster. And Mithril Heavy Boar Rifle is a nice crafted green to use as a pre-raid option until one of those better ones become available. Now, there's also Bloodlash Bow. This is the dumbest item in the game. If you're melee hunter and it's a target dummy fight, you're not going to shoot once. This is missed. However, Jesus Christ, this thing is dumb. Why is a PvP reward garbage in PvP, but melee bis in PvE? Why is it strength and not agility? There's so much wrong with this bow. It's sickening, and I'm literally sick looking at this right now. Our best scope is Sniper Scope. Bit expensive at the moment, and probably a huge bitch to get if you're a horde. So you might want to go with the +5 scope for now. Quivers and ammo pouches. Our best option is from the new Blood Moon event, but that event is literal dog shit. The 225 leatherworking one is going to be just fine until you can get the PvP one. And there is a quiver and an ammo pouch from 225 leatherworking. Absolute Biss. So, here's what our Absolute Biss is going to look like. But remember, there's a few possible variations here, like Blazewind for the chest. Then, Melee is going to look like this. Very nice. And I want to give a quick note on builds. So, I was originally going to do the build guide video first, and I did a lot of work and testing on that. However, Blizzard announced they were going to do some class tuning on the 20th. So I've decided to wait until that happens before dropping a video on specs, runes, and rotations, since it would likely just be invalidated. I'll try to get that out on the 21st or 22nd. Are you guys having a good time in P2? I've found it interesting. Let me know how it's been for you. I'll try to get a stream going here very soon, possibly a few hours after this video, if not, day after. I hope you like this video because I am going hard over here. We are so close to 20k subs. Never mind. We finally did it. Hell yeah. So if you did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe button. I got the epic gun, but one of the fist weapons button. All that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get. Like for real, I actually do. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.